Hey, what's up, everyone? Long here, and hope you don't mind. I'm actually going to be talking with y'all through my phone, actually. So I think at some point, like if I take this a bit more seriously, I will probably like get a dedicated camera uh, to uh, to do like the YouTube thing or the content creator thing. But I just enjoy having fun. So as promised, I'm going to be talking to you about the spoil. I want to talk with y'all about spoilers about Deadpool and Wolverine. But before we begin, I am a little famished, and so I thought to myself, yeah, what would go appropriate with this discussion? So I got some pizzas from DiGiorno. Not sponsored by DiGiorno, by the way. So this one is like a maximum pep chimney. This is the Wolvie pie, the spicy Wolvie pie. There's actually the Wade special that you can get I think like mainly at any grocery store. I got mine at Walmart. The Wade special I can't have because it contains pineapple, so I'm allergic to pineapple. So it's basically the pineapple and olive special. But unfortunately, I am allergic to pineapple, so I've chosen not to get that one. But if you want to, you can go ahead and get it yourself. Anyway, I'm going to be baking off the gimme chimney, you know, in honor of like Deadpool's like favorite food, chimichangas. Yeah, let's go. Mm. Ooh. Finally got my oven going, so it's going to take a little bit of time to like bake. But once we begin, once we get the pizza in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and chat with you for a little bit while I go ahead and wait giddily for my pizza. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, there you go. Here we are with tonight's dinner. Yeah, the chimichanga pizza. And a glass milk to go with it. Alright. Cheers. Mmm. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. I like the peppers on this. I think it's just pizza sauce, but otherwise it's got the other flavors of a chimichanga. I didn't see any beans. It's sausage, and I got green and red bell peppers. So yeah, no 1.5. Yeah. Mmm. All right. Very good. All right. Pizza's out of the way. Let's go and talk about hold on, excuse me. Sorry. I'm enjoying this a little too much. um, oh, Mm. Mm. Nothing I love more than a late night craving of a DiGiorno's pizza. So the thing I really loved the most about like Deadpool was the amount of like respect for the cameos on the in the up to this point. So Deadpool definitely was born out of 20th Century Fox, the 20th Century Fox era, and that was a time where a lot of characters were created. People didn't really know about like comic book heroes like coming from the comic books to the big screen, and people were actually really skeptical about it, and it was really reflected in particularly with the X-Men when they were still wearing black suits, and now all of a sudden they've not only become more acceptable, but actually they're embraced. Wolverine is the greatest example of that. He finally got to don on the like the many, not just the yellow suit, which was very iconic, by the way. There was also like the other variations of Wolverine that he could have played in different timelines, and so that's what I think is great about like the multiverse. So uh, so Hugh Jackman cameos as himself in many different forms. There was a variation of him in the cabin. Don't think I remember what exactly that variant was, but then he also had the brown suit, and then I think he was Weapon X. Like he was a poker player. He was also he was basically Xified, which was kind of which I thought was really interesting. It was basically I think it was Age of Apocalypse. That's what some people were mentioning before. And then there was one variation of Wolverine that I did not see coming at all. It was the Cavalry. I freaking love this cameo so much. He was absolutely amazing. Um, I think like if Henry Cavill is all said and done with the DC universe, I think Henry Cavill can come to the Marvel anytime, and play a new iteration of Wolverine. Um, he is very perfect for that one, for that role. Catch all of them. There was Happy Hogan, who there was Happy Hogan still with Stark Industries. I don't know what position he is in these days. You're gonna find Blade. You're gonna like Wesley Snipes' Blade, Jennifer Garner's Elektra Nachios from past like X-Men movies. There was Toad, Pyro, who has aged considerably, and Sabretooth. All these like past characters, they're basically found in the void, which Deadpool and Wolverine end up finding themselves in. They basically get tossed in the void in order to allow the TVA, well, not necessarily the TVA, but the Agent Paradox to continue on his mission to basically prune away like Deadpool's timeline, because the anchor being Logan was unfortunately killed off. He died in the latest Logan movie, and so that's basically leads to Deadpool's Wade Wilson Deadpool. He reasons that he has to get a variant of Logan back into his timeline, and so that he can save his timeline. But as everyone points out, including like this variant, this yellow suit variant of Wolverine, he is essentially the worst out of all of them, and his story is actually quite tragic. But I was actually amazed that they were able to squeeze so little time in and still make it effective. I think this was actually probably something that was really amazing to see. I think it was well done with the little bit of screen time that was available there. And then there was one cameo that really stood out for me that I think deserves makes me scratch my head as to why it got canceled in the first place. Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit, and he film in the way that he would be able to. I don't think it's going to happen. Cause even if he was allowed even if Gambit was given its creative freedom, I think they would have to handle Rogue a little bit differently. I think that's what sticks out the most, besides his awesome like pipe wielding skills, his card slinging skills. That's the thing, he's agile and he's got like his Cajun accent is quite amazing to see. I mean, like, and this is coming from someone who has not spent a lot of time in New Orleans, like or around that area. But yeah, I think like I would totally be open to seeing like a Channing Tatum like Gambit movie. I totally forgot that that was actually a solo project that got canceled by Disney. Damn Disney for doing that. What I also really liked about all the about like the hero cameos in the Void was that they actually there was a lot of respect that was given to them. There were basically like the hero cameo, like the heroes from the past in the Void. They had their moments to shine. Blade, like he's out stepped in, and I didn't quite mind that so much. The bad guys who are found in the Void, they're led by, I think is like her name is Cassandra, and she apparently is like a long lost sister or a relative of Charles Xavier, who unfortunately does not appear in this movie. She has like similar like mind powers as Charles Xavier. Plus, she's a very strong telekinetic. She's basically Magneto and Xavier and Professor X rolled into one, and so yeah, it makes her pretty much OP. Beyond that, there's really not a lot out of her. I think I think it at least serves that audience who still champion like strong they're like modern take on like strong female figures. Except that she's using her powers for evil, so I'm not so sure how they feel about that. And quite frankly, it's they're lucky that they got some representation in this movie. She plays okay, but like I didn't really care much about the villain. There's really not a lot of motivation to her. Basically, just a plot device. Plot eventually gets to a point where Paradox, he's got a big old scheme, and he's got this like a big old like experimental timeline destroyer. It's instrumental in like getting Deadpool and Wolverine to work together to destroy it, along with Cassandra, and basically saving the day. They become best buds, and all is well in Deadpool's world. Unfortunately, not with Logan's world. Past defines who he is today, so they can't really do anything to rework the past, which is very unfortunate. But I'm glad to see that they at least gave him some sort of a resolution, even if it wasn't really much of one. Yeah, but I very much enjoyed that story. The Void actually featured many different past scenes, including like the 20th Century Fox logo, which no longer exists. May it rest in peace. Uh, and yeah, there were a lot of really. Other than that, there were a lot of good moments. I very much loved the fights. I thought the combat was done well. Deadpool and Wolverine, they basically fight each other at least a couple times. Like the first time was in front of the Fox logo, and it ends with like Logan getting both katanas stuck in his body before Logan faces off against Sabretooth. And he basically decapitates Sabretooth. Oh yeah, I forgot. One other cameo that I forgot to mention was Johnny Storm, aka like the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four of the past. It was so fun. I actually liked how they introed the like Johnny Storm, because he's played by Chris Evans, who was originally Captain America. Deadpool was thinking. I loved how like Deadpool was thinking he was going to finally like assemble with Captain America, and it turns out he's not Captain America. He reveals his power, which is basically turning into a Human Torch, and he goes. And then he has to fight with Pyro, and Pyro wins. Unfortunately, Pyro wins the fight, and they're basically captured. They're taken to the base where Cassandra basically destroys Human Torch. So he's basically finito. He's gone forever. Uh, he's not part of that resistance. That's that little resistance formed by the remaining heroes, which was Blade. It was Blade, Elektra, and X-23. Yeah, I totally forgot about X-23. But I like her. I like that. I like Daphne Keene. I think she picked up her role from from her child days as X-23. I don't think I remember what her name was before, but I remember being like a really great and extraordinary actress at that young age. And some years later she grows up, and she's really has evolved. She's picked up, her English has gotten a lot better, and she's still, packs a mean slash. Bravo to Daphne Keene for that. The Deadpool variant scenes I very much love, but before we go into that, I want to talk about Peter. Still one of the last like surviving members of X Force. There's also like Shatterstar. Shatterstar was also there. He was at Deadpool's birthday party, and so those are the only. And then so those were the only two members of X Force who showed up. Colossus is there too, as well as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. You say that name right, and then you should be fine. Her girlfriend too. Rolling back, Peter is like total is a total ace in this movie. I very much love that he still like idolizes Deadpool to a point where he's got his own costume, and he's like, yeah, and he's essentially like the most OP character that out there. Big guy with the mustache, slick black hair, sick brunette hair, and when he's in the suit, he's actually packing. The next part I want to talk about is the fight with the Deadpool variants, and I thought this was done very brilliantly. It was such an awesome time because by the time the like that fight shows up, comes, uh, that like Logan, Wolverine finally puts on the mask that uh, I would never think would ever come at any given time. But he put it on. He got the mask, and it's like he looks good in that mask. It is so like comic accurate, and it was like, yes, finally he did it. I'm such at it. I'm no longer that young kid who saw like X-Men, like when they were in the black suits, but now but the kid in me still rejoiced at seeing a comic accurate Wolverine, like with the mask, and I was so happy to see that. His and that mask is now like part of him, and thankfully he yeah, and then he just goes to town with all the Deadpool variants. While Deadpool is also like there, and like they're fighting, they're killing out the variants. And then like after the fight ends, like the thing that we have to like remember is that Deadpool has really broken like healing factor, so they brush it off. They like a few moments later, and then they come right back. But then Peter shows up, and all of a sudden, like the Deadpool variants are like all friends with Peter. They're so enamored that Peter has come back. That allows for like Deadpool and Wolverine to carry on with their mission. The variants, what I love very much about the variants is that like I could probably see a lot of these like in past comic books, like particularly with Lady Pool and then like the Kid Pools. And when I actually like saw the Kid Pools. Um, I actually like went back to some articles around like Blake Lively, like Ryan wife, and yeah, essentially, basically the whole family got to be part of the movie, and they basically showed up as Deadpool at variants of Deadpool. I thought that was really cute, actually. Now I think about it, and I think one of those kids actually f bombed, which I found to be really hilarious. And I thought it was cute though. Take it for what you will. I mean, like I know like we're not supposed to teach kids how to swear like at their ages, but I didn't mind so much, and I think like in real life, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are actually really good parents. There's an interview on a YouTube short. I'll probably share that here too. Um, Blake Lively, yeah, I've never seen them so wholesome before, and it just makes me like it kind of alleviates my fears about them being bad parents. I think they actually are good parents, and so I can easily excuse, like an F bomb from a kid. I mean, like if they're getting raised right, then you know, I don't care. I honestly couldn't care less. Regarding like the connection to the MCU, the only real connection to the MCU is the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. I didn't even see Loki seasons one, or I didn't see any episodes of Loki. I heard they were good. The TVA figured very heavily in that show. But thankfully, I did not have to learn much about the TVA to really get the gist that okay, this is just an agency who has to deal with like various timelines when they're basically broken off and they have to go and fix it. And Paradox is one of those like corrupt agents who was just trying to shoot his way to the top. If I had watched this movie without any knowledge of the MCU, if I was watching it for the first time, I'd be like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But like, it's not. It wouldn't. I don't think it would like stop me from enjoying the movie. It would. I think it would actually make me more curious about those different characters. I probably would be confused to a certain extent, but I would still enjoy the movie if I was just going to see it for Deadpool and Wolverine. What I love about this movie is that it actually resonated well. There was a lot of talk of like superhero fatigue, but the fact of the matter is that like all the movies that had come out like after Endgame, most of them were basically under par. They could not reach the heights of Endgame, and even without like those lofty heights, I don't think that they did a great job. I think maybe Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness did okay, but I had a lot of problems with that one. Spider Man, like No Way Home, I really loved that one. Um, yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was a great closer to uh, Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy. Beyond that, like I didn't even get to see Black Panther, like Wakanda Forever. I heard I heard it did okay, but I didn't get a chance to see it. I heard Eternal sucks. Thankfully, I didn't waste any time on that one. Marvels didn't even bother watching it. What I'm getting at is that I basically didn't even see the MCU. I didn't even bother mentioning Ant-Man until Quantum Mania until just now. What I really hated about that one is that was how they treated MODOK and how Kang was just not really that great of a villain. I think it's better that I don't go to see those movies. My life is pretty busy as it is. So why do I bring up the movies? The reason why I bring up the movies is because essentially because I got disappointed in the MCU. I just didn't bother following it anymore. The quality of the stories have dipped so much that I could not care less about what happens to Marvel. But I did really have a great time with Deadpool and Wolverine. So, and this goes back to a question as to whether or not Deadpool and Wolverine actually saved the MCU. In so many cases, no. I think what it did is that it reignited interest in Marvel movies because all of a sudden they finally got the one kind of movie that should serve as an example as to what to have when making a good movie. Because this movie had no plot. It had no plot whatsoever. I think I did give this about a 9 out of 10. I had a lot of problems with like going in certain directions, and some of the points did not really work very well at all. Pyro like betraying Cassandra for the TVA for whatever reason. I think they could have just left that out. I think like Toad could have. I think Pyro could have been dispatched in another way, but whatever. They tried. I mean, they shot for a lot. They went for everything. Like, unfortunately, like they had a few misses, and I just couldn't really like ignore that. Among some other things that didn't really land well. I think like I didn't really care too much for the villain any as well. I think they kind of just threw in like a female. I think they just made the main villain a female, and just gave her a bunch of OP powers, but not enough of a like of a backstory to make me care. But I guess that was the point. I don't know, but point being is that I didn't really care enough, and so but where it missed on those points, it actually made up for it with with just not just the fan service, but actually really well done fan service. I mean, like I was so happy to get back like heroes that I used to watch, like in my high school days and like even in my middle school days. And it was so awesome. It felt great just to see them again, like suiting up. And I actually was I actually like for a moment I almost shed a tear, but I whooping when was I like screaming in the theater when Wolverine donned his mask, and I couldn't have been happier. Beyond that, I don't think this is going to get me to like see any more Marvel movies in theaters. They're going to need a lot of time to recover. I've had a chance to like see some of the previews for Captain America: Brave New World, and also Fantastic Four is coming out. I did not like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought it was way too. I got way too preachy at the end. I think like and they had a lot of problems with trying to like with keeping a consistent like plot, and then they got it too like preachy. And then Fantastic Four. I don't know how I feel. I think they're gonna try again with this casting. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't. I do not care. I personally don't care for like the gender swapping of Silver Surfer. I said it. I'm not a fan. I don't think it actually fits. I think the people will just basically call me a racist or sexist or whatever, but I really do not care. You can have your female Silver Surfer if you want, but I'm not going to go. I'm not putting up the money for it. The movies cost too much these days. Like I paid like $20 to see this at IMAX, to see like Deadpool and Wolverine at IMAX. The next time I watch this movie, I'm probably going to get it on Blu-ray, or because I don't want to subscribe to any more services. I mean, like I've watched some movies through some friends, but beyond that, I'm not going to sub anymore. I think it's just wrong. But what's happened like with the streaming landscape, with because basically a lot of battles were fought, and there's only a few services that still stand. And I don't want to be subscribing to any more services. I really do not. And I sure as hell do not want to waste money on garbage that I'm not going to enjoy. I mean, you really need to convince me. Otherwise, I'm just going to carry on playing video games, going outside. Yeah, I'll definitely go outside. I got work to do too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about. But yeah, if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I had a great time. I enjoyed that pizza. The chimichanga pizza, absolutely, you should try it. It is really good, very flavorful. But there's also the maximum pep, and then there is the spicy wolvie pie. But if you are really wanting to go for the authentic, like Wade Wilson experience, there is the pineapple and olive out there. If you want to try it out for yourself. Other than that, that's it. I just want to say thank you for watching my spoiler review, my spoiler discussion of Deadpool and Wolverine. If you like what you saw here, please do like the video, comment, and on what you enjoyed or what you did enjoy. And if you want to see more of these, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much, everyone. Hang loose.